Hello folks, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. That time we woke up in a podcast and had to explain manga, our heated adventures, overanalyzing manga that we find interesting. My name is Sam, and on this episode we return to the world of My Hero Academia, but instead of following the adventures of the students of UA, we're going to see some real justice, with Vigilantes by Hideyuki Furuhashi and illustrations by Betten Court. We read chapters 1 through 8. Enjoy the show. Plus Ultra! Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam, and as always, here at the top of the show, we talk about our familiarity with the thing that we read this week. It's a My Hero thing. You know how much of the manga we've read if you have listened to the episode we did however long ago.
Surprisingly little.
Yeah, surprisingly little for how many episodes we did. But I knew that Vigilantes was a thing. I did not read it. I was more interested in the main story at the time. And then when my interest in that waned, I didn't care to look up Vigilantes until now. Glad we got this episode in. This was nice. Matt, how about you?
I know nothing about it other than this was a series that existed and it has an anime coming out and we were recommended to read it. So just a trifecta of reasons to make an episode on something. I realized part one of that trifecta was this thing exists, which is really, we should have higher standards, I guess. But
Probably.
Yeah, but then what would we read?
I was about to say, we've read Am I Actually the Strongest? So we no longer have standards.
No, we really don't. Doing that in Kagurabachi, just no standards at all.
I was about to say, the only standards we have left those where we haven't done a Kagurabachi revisit.
Jay, how about you?
So, I had awareness around My Hero. I had vague awareness that this existed. If you listen to the previous My Hero Academia episodes, you know my feelings about the series. Yeah. That is my familiarity. I was aware that it existed. I have feelings towards My Hero. Yeah.
All right, and Jacob.
I am aware of the fact that My Hero has like 30 spinoffs in Shonen Jump. This one, it seems to have been being pushed a lot for a while. I guess that's why it's getting an anime. God, we read an arc of manga every week. Plus, there's the other things that I choose to either keep up with or most of the time try and fail to keep up with. So, unfortunately, I'd never gotten around to that this before that point.
Indeed. And so we open up our adventure with the classic for My Hero, the superpowered society and the heroes that keep it in check. Unless you are not somebody that has a hero license, instead works in the shadows. Very cool, very mysterious. Oh boy, our main character is falling off of a building and about to die.
So, my first reaction to that premise of, okay, we live in a world where quirks, people with quirks, whether they be minute detail, or like astronomical one, or like really, really complex quirks, we live in that reality, right? And we obviously are socialized into understanding that there are like entire schools and academies built on drawing the best of the best talent and cultivating that into this nation's, I'm assuming, global heroes of some form or fashion, right?
We're not going to address anything outside of Japan. That's too much lore.
So I'm just saying, like, it's been a while since we were in the My Hero universe, so reorienting ourselves into My Hero Vigilantes is like, okay, so you have it set up where society has accepted, I don't know the exact percentage, but something like 90% of people have some sort of quirk. So the majority of people have some sort of quirk.
Mm-hmm.
You are not typically allowed to exercise this quirk
In like public, yeah.
in public unless you have a particular license, despite the fact that we are accepting a society where this is natural for the majority of people.
Also, some people are cats.
Some people just are cats. Or other animals, because remember there was a hamster. Or a mouse.
There was also a dog that was a police officer.
But the point is, we live in a world where the majority of people, on some level, have some power or ability, but only a select few are allowed to actually display or use these.
We live in a
Yes.
society.
We live in a society.
So yeah.
The thing about My Hero's world building is if you try to take it to the granular details that this podcast naturally will, it tends to break down. But the way that the characters in universe generally treat it is, it makes sense that the default rule is you can't use a quirk in public because litigating every single unique quirk would be functionally impossible. But that said, most people don't care that much if you use especially a small scale or benign quirk. Like, you might get like chastised by a patrolling beat cop or something, but like you're not going to get into serious trouble for
like,
doing it.
The main character gets like ticketed by a cop for using his quirk in public, and like the entire interaction is framed in such a way that this cop's really being a busybody. Like, who stops someone for this nonsense? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
technically illegal, but it's like getting a ticket for jaywalking when there was like no traffic. Like,
Yeah.
sure, but the law should actually be, don't use the fire that comes out of your toenails to murder people. Some could say maybe we should just make murder illegal, but that'd be too simple.
That would be far too simple.
I can't remember, because it's been a bit, if I've gone on my Harrison Burgeon rant with My Hero Academia before.
I think you did.
I think I have, because I don't know. My Hero is the world where, and I'll bring it up now because they set it up that like, oh yes, no one is allowed to use their quirk in public except for those who decide to break the law and be vigilantes. Except, at least in our reading, them being vigilantes seems to not actually matter.
Well, yeah. Honestly, I like the way that they treat the vigilantes, because it's logically how you would under these circumstances. Yes, they're technically breaking the law, and quite frankly, Knuckle Duster kind of proves why vigilantism in the real world should be illegal, because someone
Knuckle Duster's not breaking the law. We'll get there.
Yes, we'll get there. He can't break the law.
Yeah, he's not breaking the law because of the quirk. He's breaking the law because of assault, but
he's breaking the law because of assault and battery.
Assault is a crime, friends.
It is unclear if it's still a crime in My Hero Academia.
Does superpowered Japan have a duty to retreat law?
No.
But yeah, the general reaction of most of the characters is, yeah, technically vigilantes are not just bending, but breaking the law, but like, there are other things that people should be there are other problems that people should be dealing with. So
I think my take on this, and I think it's the same problem I have here in Academia, is quirks are used as like a representation of someone's true self, though. Like, thematically they're that. So the idea is they live in the society where no one is allowed to actually be themselves, except this higher echelon of individuals who are raised above others into some kind of paragon. Except Hiroaka goes, wait, no, that was probably a bad idea in some of the arcs, so who knows?
Quick, do the Stain arc.
Quick, do any of the arcs after the first two, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much. But we are introduced to our main character, Koichi, who witnesses a quick show from All Might, giving a good old smash on a villain, going like, anybody hurt? All right, later, boing!
My planet needs me.
His planet needs him, and we get Koichi's quirk, Slide and Glide, so long as
That's
he
what they
makes
call
at
me,
least...
ladies.
So long as he's making 3 points of contact with any surface, he can skim, or with his hands and feet, he can skim it along it with like zero
you listening,
gravity.
Guys at home? 3 points of contact minimum.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Drives
You
him
got
wild.
2 hands for a reason.
Yes.
2 hands and 2 feet. But keep one of them feet on the ground. Don't get too freaky with it.
Well, that really depends on your balance and leg strength, but anyway, his power is handy, but also kind of lame because he has to crouch down like he's about to take off on a 100-meter dash, and then just kind of like it's like he got selected in Photoshop and is being dragged across across the stage.
The thing I really like about his quirk is that they can, depending on how they want to frame him, they can either make him look really lame, or they can put him in a heroic pose that actually, cuts a cool image, depending on what they need.
My favorite thing is he keeps saying how worthless his quirk is, but it's better than most of Class B's quirks from Hiroaka.
You're not
like
wrong.
head and hands above.
Because he mostly
at the end of
uses
our
it-
reading, they do kind of address that idea to a degree, but we'll get to it because that's at the very end.
Yep. I mean,
I got some thoughts on that one.
Yeah. He mostly uses it to like slide on the ground, but he can also use it. It's like any surface. So if he puts like both hands and a foot on a wall, he can anti-grav repulse up that wall somehow.
Because
And
quirks do whatever the writer wants them to.
Yeah, because it's framed like it just makes him slide along something without any friction, except he clearly has like propulsion. So
Yeah.
he's got like a max speed of a 10-speed bike, but it doesn't seem like it costs him any stamina. But I think that's a common problem with quirks, so I'm not going to go into it much more. It's just like it just takes energy. I don't know.
Probably.
Just try harder, I guess. Flex them slide glide muscles.
Yes. On his way to either school or his part-time job, I forget which, he runs into our second main character, Pop Step, a gorilla idol who uses her jump quirk to evade the police, add some style to her shows, and flash her ass, which
is a choice.
The manga kind of derisively says is the source of most of her popularity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She is an interesting character. I have thoughts on her, but continue on.
Yeah.
She's not a very talented singer, but she wants to be an idol, I think is the whole thing. So
Yeah.
she's taking the shortcut for it.
Yeah, I'll say like a very shortcut.
I think the other joke is supposed to be she has a flying quirk but wears a skirt.
But it's not
Yeah.
flying. It is not flying. We get it specifically spelled out to us that she cannot fly.
We get told that, but we're not actually explained in such a way that I know what her quirk is at this point.
She can leap and glide. She cannot fly.
I guess she's got some sort of like a combination of a jump and a slow fall.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Kind of like a flying squirrel.
I don't even think it's really a slow fall thing. I don't know. It's the landing part. It's the landing part that's weird.
I think she can stand in air. I guess
she has to contact something.
Yeah, it's hard to say. The important thing about this is Koichi is a helpful guy, and we see doesn't give much of a care about the law because he hears some sirens and alerts Pop Step that the cops are coming. Better get rid of your gorilla show. And it was his part-time job because he arrives and 3 rough types that had that
he'd previously literally run into
and then literally run away from. Yeah,
I do find it kind of funny that like the cop castigates him for using his quirk because he could run into somebody, and then when he's walking on his 2 feet like a normal person, that's when he bumps into somebody.
Yeah.
It's a very basic joke, but it still made me laugh.
So these assholes take him into an alley and beat him up. As he's heading home feeling sorry for himself, he's like, no, I think this is a good time for me to change into my alter ego, as he puts on his All Might branded merch hoodie and a face mask and becomes his heroic alter ego, Mr. Nice Guy.
I just love that this is his superhero outfit when like in universe it's the same vibe as someone going like, I'm gonna be a superhero vigilante. Quick, let me put on my Supreme hoodie.
It's literally what Deku does, except
yes.
Deku got it.
This is Deku 2.0.
Deku got it custom made and colored green.
Yes.
Oh.
He uses his slide powers to return dropped items, give directions to the lost. Hi, Mrs. Midoriya. Help drunks get home, take pictures for people, put away garbage. And he's a fairly well-known Good Samaritan that the people seem to like.
Mr. Nice Guy.
The
Yeah.
nice guy.
He's pretty cool, actually.
He's a
Yeah.
cool guy. If only he'd beat up more civilians.
That would be the coolest.
It would be. And we get shown this as he happens to bump into Popstep because this city is apparently got only like 12 people and they all hang out on the same street corner every day.
Well, they live in the same
Hey.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, again, we'll get to it, but we learned some things at the end of our reading.
Mhm.
I think we're all gonna have some
some thoughts.
some thoughts about that.
But those rough guys show up again, which is why I'm like, God damn it. Does anybody go anywhere? Is everybody just following him? We'll get to it. They capture Pop and are about to her.
Yeah, they're getting rough. I don't.
He literally, one of the guys does say that he's going to strip her naked, have his fun with her, and then put the pictures on the internet.
Yeah, it gets.
He does the worst thing possible, like straight out of the get-go. Like this is we've had at least like 2 or 3 run-ins with this guy too. Is another thing that should be said. Is so our protag Koichi is very familiar with this gang of ruffians, and they happen to be holding his, I guess you would call them acquaintances, friends. I don't quite know their relationship at this point.
Acquaintances currently. Yeah.
And yeah, he sees her at a very like obvious, like, please, oh my gosh, help me situation.
Yeah,
And-
it's the unfortunate situation that they need to keep escalating the villainy of these characters so it goes into somewhat
just so you
distasteful
know that they're bad,
territory.
that they are bad
Yeah.
guys. They are doing the absolute worst.
These people are like insane bad guys, considering
Yeah.
how normal their neighborhood is. Like, it's not like they're in like a bad part of town. These people are just like Yakuza. Like,
Yeah, because they need to keep escalating how bad these guys are. It ends up ending in a place that feels kind of egregious. It's fine for what it is.
I think the tone of what we read, they could have stopped 2 steps short and lost. to
Yeah,
nothing.
that's where it
Yeah,
kind of
I
became
agree.
cartoonish for me, where I'm just like, okay, we're in this relatively safe neighborhood where only you have like the occasional riffraff that our nice guy helps pick up, and now you have like we went to Vice City, and I'm like, what? Okay,
These 3 need to calm the fuck down.
they need
like,
to calm down.
These 3 are acting like organized like crime guys, but it's just the 3 of them, so no. Like,
yeah, it's because of the nature of the way that the chapter is structured.
Yeah.
because you need to have like a big ending for your one shot, and like I get it,
Mhm.
but
Yeah. It doesn't ruin it. It's just we kind of have to comment on it because it's really freaking noticeable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, again, not to like discredit what is being said. I chuckled at this point because it escalated
Yeah.
so out of left field. I'm like, what?
it went super dark in a manga that like
Isn't.
spoiler alert, but not really. The main plot is, oh no, people are taking super drugs. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The point here is that Koichi tries to.
He tries to help. He fails and gets.
It's actually
He's-
kind of interesting because there's a noticeable parallel with Deku specifically. It's just the context is slightly different because like both of them, they see someone in trouble, something bad is about to happen, so they both like reflexively jump in. We're more in Koichi's head and we see what he intends to do, but it doesn't work because he's just outmatched. He doesn't have the physical strength to deal with this situation. And then we have All Might at home comes in to save the day.
we get Knuckle Duster, who in the Ask the Author segment is explained to be All Might is Superman and my hero. So Knuckle Duster is our version of Batman. And I'm like, this is someone who has no idea what Batman is. He is closer to
The Punisher.
The Punisher.
the Punisher. I wasn't gonna Rorschach, I say. He's closer
Rorschach.
to.
Actually,
yeah, that's
you're
fair.
right. So he does his signature move, which is jump off of a building at a height that should kill him, lands in a pile of trash, which cushions the fall because there's never anything sharp and jagged in trash, as we learned from Gachikuta.
It's Japan, so they sort their garbage very cleanly. So he probably landed in the paper
true.
trash.
True, good point.
Oh God, broken glass! It's Tuesday.
Oh no!
Remember, kids, if you're jumping off a building, always land in a pile of garbage. It'll cushion your fall. Anyway, punch.
Yeah, I will say, whilst I agree that this character is not a good Batman surrogate, he does at least have the visual aesthetic down.
Homeless All Might is
Yeah.
yeah, like he is crazy All Might. Like that's what he is.
He's crazy homeless All Might, because I mean, one of the things that's kind of important is like physically he has the same build as All Might. He cuts the same imposing like silhouette, and one of the big things is most of the time, like not all the time, but most of the time, Knuckle Duster is smiling. And he has an almost manic grin on his face. And because he is crazy homeless All Might, it's not, quite frankly, even All Might's smile is kind of a little bit creepy because it's plastered on all the time. So it's like there is a very overt parallel here.
It's also just like in the different context of Knuckle Duster, a lot of things All Might does are just insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, all of this feels intentional too. Like that, I really like the way that Vigilantes parallels like the main story.
the first two chapters definitely try and set up like a much grittier tone.
Mhm.
It doesn't really go forward with that, but
It
the
doesn't
first
keep it because
yeah.
it's my hero, ultimately.
He beats the crap out of these guys, grabs all their tongues to be like, do you have the weird tongue? How about you? Do you? No weird tongue colors on these guys. They're not on the drugs.
Wait, what do you mean by the drugs?
We'll get to it in the next chapter. Anyway, kid, you've got the real moxie to be a hero. From now on, you're my apprentice.
I refuse.
Too bad, you're gonna call me master. Let's go, we're going patrolling.
I'm breaking into your house and living there.
That's insane, just because, like, it's not
It's funny.
necessarily at this point why it was so jarring was just like, why did you have to break in? I did not catch the why did you have to break and enter? You could have just
Because he
asked this very nice man. Hey,
Because he doesn't care.
He's
Yeah.
offered a spare key and is like, nah, I can break in anyway.
Yeah, I will say it's funny because the joke about them just crashing at his place, even though he doesn't want them there most of the time, it's a really funny joke. But I do genuinely feel bad for Koichi.
No.
Just stealing his stuff.
We feel worse because the reason why he doesn't take it as a punch in the gut is because he starts out. There's a flashback where he starts out with all the aspirations. I want to be the cool kid on campus. I want to get girls over. All of that dashed immediately.
because whilst his apartment is very nice, it's like a temporary like thing on the top of an abandoned building.
Which I'm just saying, I have to just clear my man's name because he was just being nice. Everyone had a couple of drinks. And she apparently spread the rumor that he was trying to do something inappropriate. And I did not get that sense at any point. My man's name was slandered, ruined from the start, and he deserves justice.
Also, I don't believe a group of college kids would look twice at like, oh, your apartment's on top of an abandoned building?
Yeah.
Like, that's completely normal for college kids because you want the cheapest possible place.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm mad at this woman. I'm like, you just lied. What the hell?
Like, here where Sam and I went to college, there was like a set of apartments that were just made out of an abandoned middle school. Like,
Yeah.
like barely refurbished too. It was just like you lived in half a classroom.
We had friends who stayed in there. We went to visit them. It was kind of freaky, but we just accepted it.
I'm just saying, this girl ruined my man's reputation, and I'm still a little salty over it. But anyway, back to the plot.
Yes.
Yeah, because now we get the explanation that there is a quirk enhancing drug that it messes with your head and makes you more violent and impulsive.
It makes you feral, but upgrades your quirk, basically.
Yeah.
It's called Trigger, and one of the side effects is it turns your tongue black. So I go around punching any suspicious-looking guy and checking out their tongues.
Oh, that's really cool. So it turns the tongue black because it stains it when you ingest it, right?
No, it
Oh.
doesn't.
Huh. So you take this drug intravenously.
There's a one-off line that it fucks up your circulation, and that's why the tongue turns black. But it's really weird that it would be that isolated, and wouldn't it turn blue? I don't know.
I mean, quite frankly, if this had any kind of meaningful logic, it would turn the enhanced quirk area the color, but
Or it would turn your mouth black because you drink it.
Yeah.
But no, it's because it's a drug, you have to inject it in your neck.
Yeah, we needed an identifiable feature is ultimately what it is.
That's why you inject it between your toes. No marked.
Yep. So we get the average patrol of Knuckle Duster and Koichi as Koichi desperately hangs up because he's like a twig of a guy, and Knuckle Duster's freaking huge. So he's like hanging off of his arm, like, please stop accosting random citizens and trying to like rip out their tongues.
No.
You can't keep punching people.
Yes, I can.
Oh.
Pop step on a nearby streetlight. Have you ever considered looking for junkies and dealers? Too easy.
Well, no, actually, what she suggests is even I hesitate to say clever. It's obvious, but she's just looking for like unknown, like reports of unknown villains, because with what it does, it turns people spontaneously into villains. So anywhere where there's a weird sudden emergence of a new villain no one's ever heard of before is probably somebody taking the drug.
Well, you see, Jacob, that's because her power as a teenage girl is she knows what social media is. Knuckle Duster is an old man who has no idea what social media is. So when he's trying to find people who are doing drugs, he just beats up teenagers. That's all he knows how to do.
That makes sense.
Koichi's also not necessarily stupid, but he's too like depressed to like think creatively about the situation, and Knuckle Duster is just an idiot, so she's the only one without depression and a functioning brain.
Yeah, there is a kind of interesting through line of Koichi. Like, Koichi's natural reflexes to be involved in this and like, you know,
be helpful. He's a helpful guy. He's Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, but like he's a little bit too much in his head about what his limits are. One thing that the series is good at is showing that whilst like he doesn't have a powerhouse quirk, but it also isn't like, it's not useless, it's not weak, it's a strong quirk. He could absolutely do this, but because it's not like an overt like direct combat kind of thing, he gets in his own head and he keeps like setting a foot out the door of the whole event, so he's not really putting his brain into it.
It's not a useful quirk, like being able to talk to animals or be able to shoot tape out of your elbows. Anyway, guys, I think people are getting bored and they don't know that this is a My Hero Academia property. Throw Eraserhead in here.
Specifically after he accosts a random salary man like, you, show me your tongue. You're a weird guy with a suspicious briefcase. He's got action figures in there. What kind of grown man collects action figures? Plenty of people have weird hobbies. Haven't you ever been on the internet? I actually work at a toy company.
I will say, there was a part of me that was like, okay, he's gonna accost the guy who seems like he's random and not involved, but he's actually gonna be the bad guy. Oh, there's the drugs inside of the toys. Okay, I see where this is going. I'm a little bit disappointed that they went for that blindingly obvious twist. You can't see my air quotes, but I'm air quoting very hard.
Jacob, they then immediately shove Eraserhead in so you don't forget you're reading My Hero. So maybe your faith should have been a little lower.
They also had a sort of like cliffhanger at the end of chapter 1 where a shadowed guy in a suit was giving out the trigger from a briefcase. So like,
I don't think it's supposed to be a twist because it is just that guy. Like,
yeah. I guess to give it credit, it knew how obvious its twist was, so it wasn't really trying to hide it.
See, Jacob, you fell into the classic blunder. The main characters are not reading the manga with you.
Yeah.
So Eraserhead captures Knuckle Duster because I might be off today, but I'm not going to let you attack a random citizen. No, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, and they have a cool fight. I honestly, I like any fight that Eraserhead is in.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid scrap, and yeah, Knuckles putting up a pretty solid showing because turns out he's quirkless. He's just a big guy who's good. What punch is good?
This is intercut with another fight that's going on. So it is weird. At one point, Eraserhead goes, "This man, his quirk is," and then it like cuts back to the fight later, and it's Eraserhead going like, "Obviously, he doesn't have a quirk." And I'm like, I thought that was pretty obvious. I feel like maybe that's just a weird translation, or maybe the Japanese is also equally as just like bullshit.
Yeah, like well, I mean that's a very American comic book thing to do, and obviously My Hero is heavily influenced by that. So
his quirk is he doesn't have a quirk.
Yeah, that's sort of disjointed, like setting up a panel, but the payoff doesn't match quite right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a kind of classic comic book thing.
Yeah.
Yep. But the rough types from chapter 1 come back, and they're all hopped up on Trigger.
One of them's a pterodactyl, one of them's a fire-breathing giant, and the spike guy is now a porcupine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because whilst all this is happening, Popstep realized that the Salaryman was actually in the area where the like new villains had been popping up.
Mm-hmm. Because he's in all of the social media pictures of the events,
which is just really just bad criming.
Yeah,
on his
bad
part.
villaining.
Yeah. I'm going to create something that people will definitely put on Twitter. Better make sure that I have my face showing in the direction of every phone.
So typically when you do a drug deal, you don't wait for the person to start doing the drugs in front of you on the park bench before you leave.
Yeah.
You typically leave before they do that. Because you have your money.
Nah, it's fine. How else are the main characters going to realize he's suspicious?
Indeed. So, well, we definitely know he's suspicious when he takes the trigger and turns into a 50-foot four-armed giant of like pitch black shadow with a cartoony face. It's actually pretty freaking terrifying.
So what do you think his quirk was that it could mutate into this?
Eraserhead says it's a gigantification quirk, but that doesn't explain the body and the arms.
Yeah,
it's probably because it's probably like a
multiple arms thing.
Like I'm thinking like it's like an enhancing quirk, and the idea would be that it's mutating. But
it's because we needed a cool monster for the first page. Because again, all of this is happening like in medias res, and they flashed back to everything we've talked about previously.
Yeah,
to this fight where, despite the fact Popstep has a flying quirk, she got dropped, and that means she can't fly, so she's falling to her death. Is what's being set up here.
They say it in the panels. She doesn't have anything to kick off of. I don't know how she lands normally, but that's the reason why she's just falling is because she was dropped and didn't kick off anything.
To be clear, I'm aware the manga is explaining what's happening in here. I don't understand how her power works then, but
it's possible because I mean that's literally a line of questioning when we're trying to figure out Koichi, like figuring out how quirks work is a valid like line of questioning because
they work by X-Men logic.
Yeah, they're different, similar but different, you know.
Indeed, but since Pop is, by all appearances, falling to her death, Koichi uses his quirk to zoom up the side of a building to leap out and catch her midair, which gives her which lets her footstool him like we're playing Smash Bros. And that's how he ended up falling.
That's how we got the first page. I will say
she has the audacity to look surprised, like, oh crap! Wait a minute.
No. I actually freaking love this. This is one of my favorite parts of the whole manga because the sequence of events is we get Koichi realizes I can do this. I can save her. He gets a bunch of heroic panels of him using his quirk.
Very what's up danger.
There's like a whole thing about it's like some people's quirks let them fly and other quirks make them crawl. This time I get to fly. It's like, it's basic, but it's very, very well done, like, for what it's trying to do. It's this big heroic moment. He succeeds, and she reflexively jumps off of him, and as she's flying away, she realizes, wait a second, I didn't mean to do that, I just did it on reflex.
Oh god, I just killed him. Like,
oh no! Oh crap!
I love the reaction that she has, because it's clear from the look on her face she didn't need to do that. She just did that on reflex. And it goes into like the thing I mentioned before about the nice thing about his quirk is that they can make him look like a buffoon or a badass depending on what the scene needs. And then the way he's able to get out of the situation is he's about to get slapped by the monster, but that gives him 3 points of contact so he can redirect himself to land safely.
yes. Which, at this point, he's no longer sliding and gliding. And we are on chapter 2 of this manga. Because he is a full, like, hanging off the ceiling Spider-Man at this point. Because he's just Spider-Man. If Spider-Man was a speedster.
And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But Eraserhead shows up, uses his quirk, shrinks the guy down, and wraps him up, which is good because he's naked.
The horrifying thing of Eraserhead could just turn people back into people. Like, never uses it on the cat people.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I don't even know what that would do to the mouse guy. Like, that's not the size of a person. Does he grow? I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a lot of questions here.
There's a lot of questions. Okay, I shouldn't be litigating this because it's My Hero, but I'm pretty sure he said he can't do anything about quirks that just like change the default body. Because the implication is that the reason he got so huge was because it was specifically a gigantification quirk. But that's getting into the weeds that My Hero doesn't want you to pay close attention to because it's honestly not important.
It's treating those as if those are different powers, but like, how could they possibly be different powers? They're the same thing. Magic. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, we get the great scene where Eraserhead essentially tells Knuckle Duster, "Well, I can't arrest you because you didn't do anything illegal."
Yeah.
Oh, Eraserhead. I don't think that's true.
Well, honestly, I think
he didn't do any quirk-related crimes, which I think only heroes can arrest for. But can't you call the cops?
Yeah, but Eraserhead doesn't like the cops.
Yeah, I honestly, given his demeanor, I think there's a matter of he absolutely could and probably should detain, but he doesn't like the cops. They helped out, and it's like, by this technicality, I can justify not bothering with this right now because I'm off duty and I don't want to do it.
Eraserhead is really the lesser of two evils in this conversation because Knuckle Duster's like rant on what being a vigilante is all about is insane. Because it's just like, well, if we beat the shit out of a guy and it turns out that guy was a bad guy, can't go to jail for preemptive assault, can you? No, you definitely can. What the fuck?
It's fun because Knuckle Duster is like the poster child of why, again, circa the real world, vigilantism is illegal and should be. That's
kind of, except he's then portrayed as the hero of this manga, so
yeah,
or at least a mentor for Koichi.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they do present him as also being unhinged. Like, he's not portrayed like positively.
He's not portrayed like spick and span.
Yeah, but he treads a notably like gray area where they're able to prosecute people with quirks. The fact that he does not have a quirk means that they cannot prosecute him for using a quirk in public because he does not have that.
I guess I'll just mention this now because it's something. It's mentioned later in like a brief conversation. With how badly he beats people up, even if he had a hero license, he'd at least go under investigation for how far overboard he goes.
Oh no,
like, he's not.
Basically, everyone else has quirks, so everything else is fair game because obviously in this universe,
That's his perspective, but Koichi and do we even get Pop Step's actual? We have to at some point.
She's got a
It's
name
probably,
somewhere.
yeah.
But
somewhere.
point being, the two of them have a conversation about the fact that if he was a pro hero, he'd probably get his license taken. It's mentioned a couple of times that pro hero, like the origin of pro heroes is they started off as vigilantes, and this is it's very similar to the way that Batman gets institutionalized and the GCPD starts officially working with him. It's like when a whole bunch of superpowered people pop up out of nowhere. Yes, technically what these vigilante superheroes are doing is illegal, but the situation is so extreme that we kind of have to deal with the immediate crisis. Now that they've lived with quirks for a couple of generations, they start doing a licensing system, and the vigilantes are starting to fade because the licensing system is supposed to cover make these extraordinary circumstances not extraordinary anymore. And the entire idea of vigilantes as a story is there still a place for the people who want to just do spontaneous good with their superpowers when an extreme situation pops up? And honestly, I don't think that Vigilantes has given an answer on whether or not that's reasonable yet. It's presenting the question, but it's not giving an opinion on it yet. Because again, Knuckle Duster is not presented as a sane, rational, good role model. He's kind of nuts.
Yeah, but Knuckle Duster's behavior also doesn't cause them any trouble, is really the thing. He's just Batman, so he's allowed to do crazy shit. The story itself is very much oh, well, those kids are just doing the good that we can't do because of our corrupt society that forces licenses. Don't you have an entire series about people who are licensed heroes? Oh, right, those people are also good. This is all good.
Yeah, I don't think that Vigilantes, as far as we've read, has really made a definitive statement on that yet. It's still setting up the question.
I was gonna say, what the fuck is Knuckle Duster doing in that final page? Because it appears like he's grappling hook Spider-Man swinging away, but he's way too far off the ground, so I don't know how he got there.
Yeah, he will intermittently sometimes have a grapple gun.
It's like how we don't actually have to see where Spider-Man's webs go when he's web swinging. We just assume there's a building somewhere because it's New York.
I also don't know what Pop Step is going to do up in the air like that. Because I
show off her ass. It's for morale.
I guess, but she's there's nothing for her to jump off in the middle of the street. So I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's a cool ending scene, but how everyone's posed, I'm wait, what's going on here? Presumably Koichi is sliding into oncoming traffic.
I like how several chapters later they make an excuse about that. Oh yeah, nobody ever drives on streets, we say 6 chapters in.
Yeah, these streets are purposely empty.
Yeah, because we need cool panels.
Anyway, let's show a picture of all the superheroes that exist, where one of them is just Monkey D. Luffy.
Monkey D. Luffy with a mustache.
Yeah, we've got the My Hero Academia page where they're just obviously, because we can't have all these people doing what they want all the time. We live in chaos. So for society to function, people must lock away their true selves. Except for the heroes. The heroes are fucking cool. Best Genist is the only hero that matters. Don't you love Best Genist?
The rival of Tank Top Master, or whatever it was.
Or the Dominatrix lady, who now that I'm looking at, does not appear to be wearing a shirt, but is. Her spandex just molds into her arm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's tearaway, so she can get her pheromones out.
You mean Mount Lady or one of the others?
Midnight.
Midnight, yep, that's her name. Yeah, okay. You can't see it because there's stuff in the way of both of her wrists, but it goes to her wrist. I remember her outfit because I think we complained about it when she was in.
You see, Jacob is an intellectual. He knows what he's talking about. Yes.
The number 2 hero who's never done anything wrong, Endeavor.
Yes.
Everybody's favorite, completely unproblematic.
Done anything wrong in his entire life.
We've never gotten to any arcs where he's done anything horrible yet. He's just implied to have beaten his wife.
Except for the eugenics and beating his wife.
Just to be clear, my hero doesn't have a problem with the eugenics. It has a problem with the marriages.
It has a problem with the eugenics. That was the whole point of the arc.
So they're saying that they don't condone eugenics, but there is an awareness that there is eugenics happening. There's the difference there.
It's not societally condoned, but it's one of those open secret things.
Yeah, that's like part of Endeavor's character. A lot of people don't like him because of that.
I mean, clearly not enough people, because he is still the number 2 hero. So, like...
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So a pair of X-Men, I mean a pair of JoJos, I mean a pair of Joe-Men, I mean a pair of X-Joes, I mean...
So, the one thing I will say, that this series, its character designs are all references to other things. Which, apparently, Pop Step's outfit is literally just another character's outfit from a different show. I don't know the reference, but in the, like, author commentary at the end, they're like, yes, I drew her too much like this one, like, character I'm a fan of. But I removed the wings because I didn't want it to be just completely that character. And then my co-writer was just like, yo, give that Biddy some wings. She looks so hot.
Oh my god. Same brain cell. Same brain cell. I'm like,
Oh my
dude, I
God.
know, but stop. Don't expose me like this.
As to the references, I find it interesting that when Cyclops and Okuyasu do the fusion dance, they become a member of Zaft.
You know what? You're right.
Because we get Cyclops and we get not Wolverine, who are rival middle schoolers.
And
High
they're
schoolers?
Okuyasu and Jotaro.
Yeah.
I like that the school emblem for Wolverine is just the Professor Xavier.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, and the emblem for Cyclops / Okuyasu is it's the Zaft Elite Forces pin.
Oh, because he's a Scion? I forget what.
No, that's a Gundam reference.
A new type.
Yeah, I
Because
guess.
he's a psychic. New types can shoot eye lasers, right? That's a
sure, why
bullshit thing
not?
they can
Yeah,
do.
sure, why not?
I like how they established that Wolverine grows wooden swords out of his wrists, which
Yeah.
is so much worse than metal, and I don't know why.
But Pop Step reports the fight. Koichi zips over with his new vigilante form. It's the Crawler. He's
I don't know if I hate or I love that.
I like it.
It's a purposely bad name, I think.
Yeah, they reference it just several times with how difficult it would be able to be pronounced in Japanese. Yeah.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
what the joke is? Okay.
Yeah.
He's the Crawler.
Why do you
The
have to put so
donut
many
guy?
R's in it? It's because you can't pronounce the R's and it sounds weird.
The Crawler? No, I'm not a pastry. But he's added some biker gear to his outfit, so he still can't break, but and he's also learned some safe falls. He still can't break, but he can reduce his damage from impacting into stuff now.
Well, which becomes the character trait of Koichi is random strangers giving him just very casual advice that causes him to completely relook these powers he's been living with his entire life.
Yeah.
I could just wear something to break?
I can wear protective gear like I'm riding a bike. You compare your power to a bike all the time. Why don't you have a helmet?
Wow! I never thought of this before.
The mysterious man with an air of danger. The Crawler.
It makes sense if they didn't then shove into his backstory that he was training for the hero exam at one point. Like,
Yeah.
this would make sense if he was just a normal ass guy who in college, because his college debut didn't go his way, was just like, well, I could maybe try doing like some superheroing on the side. But no, he's wanted to be a hero since a little kid. So
Yeah, I guess that's why. Because like
It feels slightly less shoehorned because, like, why else does he have an All Might hoodie? But, like, also All Might's super popular. It's like having a Mickey Mouse hoodie without being a Disney adult.
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
meant entirely about how he never thought to wear protective gear to break.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, because I mean, like, I not for nothing. Like the thing about him having wanted to be, because up until our last chapter, he will mention in passing occasionally, like, every kid wants to be a superhero, and I didn't really like think retroactively about the idea that like he should have been trying things when he was younger if he had earnest heroic aspirations. Because, like, up until we get that last chapter, it doesn't really feel like it makes sense that he wouldn't have tried a lot of things out because he didn't really have much of an opportunity to. But then in that last chapter, it's like, no, he was he wasn't planning to go to UA, but he was planning to go to like the next tier down from UA.
Yeah, Tokyo Super High or something.
But he was doing like the provisional hero license exam or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing I think Hiroaka tells us doesn't exist because I don't know. UA makes some weird decisions.
It does. Johto Vereen and Cyclops Yasu get sick of him and start beating him up, as people are wont to do. Full on lasering him in the damn face.
Oh yeah, assault isn't a crime. Is what's going on here.
Knuckle Duster shows up. Koichi is like, oh, no, seriously, don't beat them up. They were literally just beating you up. But why is beating people up always step one for you? Because it's faster. You need a better way of dealing with your aggression. Why?
Yeah, he proceeds to not care.
Yep. We also then see possibly the most just not related to what's going on sound effect I've ever seen in a manga. Because Pop Step hops off a list, and for some reason we get the boing effect, and nothing on this girl should boing. So
What? Okay.
Yeah, she's not the most voluptuous anime girl in the universe.
She has
Period.
human proportions.
You've heard this. You've heard it here,
Yes.
folks.
She has human proportions up until whatever the fuck is going on with that belt. I don't understand where her waist is.
Me neither.
It's somewhere.
But she hops in to break up the fight, which is good because, as it turns out, these two guys are absolute super fans of her. So for the low price of an autograph and a handshake, they instantly become our on-the-street informants and become actually extremely helpful secondary characters.
I'm genuinely surprised how often these...
And like how helpful they are.
I love the author's notes of how they were just like, I didn't think I could get away with drawing them to be this much of a reference. And then I was told to keep putting them in chapters. Oh, anyway, a villain attacks because he's high on the cocaine and he punches so hard that a baby falls out of its stroller.
Thankfully, Koichi catches the baby.
Mhm.
Rescue successful, which allows Knuckle Duster to go in and do battle with the rock monster.
Knuckle Duster is fighting and winning against a dude who is made of rocks.
He's just a guy with some brass knuckles.
I'm just saying, the villain who just had a gun was really the smartest character in Hiroaka.
He was.
The only thing that stopped him was the fact that the one person that hard counters that incredibly intelligent choice is who he happened to be up against.
It's the Demon Slayer episode all over again. If you can make these guns, why does everyone not just have a gun?
Ugh. Because then we wouldn't have a superhero universe.
We have to go on this whole thing about how it's like, so you use this drug to power up your quirk, but you don't know how to use it properly. So because you've hardened up your entire body, you've gone and slowed down. That's right, kids, you slow down when you get too hard. So now, with the help of my apprentice, I will knock you over and punch you in the face. I will beat you in the head until you are soft again.
I do like that the villain appears by just going, I'm so hard! So hard!
The hardest!
Oh! And I'm like, buddy, hold on. You took a weird pill and now you're so hard you can't handle it?
And
Just saying.
well, to complete the JoJo reference, Knuckle Duster gets an honest-to-God Ora panel.
And they beat the guy up too much that they can't identify him, so they messed up.
Yep. His face is too swollen to get an ID. You think that's because you beat the shit out of him?
Nah.
I don't see a problem with my methods.
Yeah.
Well, we've got to leave before the cops show up. We're just going to leave Cyclops and Wolverine to handle this.
Oh, so, hey, Miss Pop, what was all that about? This guy was taking this weird drug that powers up quirks, and that's why all the villains have been appearing. So they, if you see anybody with a weird black tongue, that means they've been taking this stuff. Actually, here, have my phone number. Let me know if you see anything. Bye, guys! Whoa. Did we just become street informants for our Oshi? Hell yeah, brother!
That's really cool. We also need to end this chapter on like a thematic statement for the manga. So we're going to have the cat cop talk to Inspector Gadget about the concept of vigilantes.
Is that the same cop from
No,
the
it was a
mainline
dog
series?
head.
No,
I
the
think
human guy.
The cat cop has shown up before somewhere, but
I think Inspector Gadget also shows up in the main series.
I don't.
I
don't.
thought the animal head cop was a dog.
There is.
It
a
doesn't
dog head
really
cop.
matter.
There is another cat head cop.
Okay, yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
animal people
it
just
doesn't-
enter the force.
You're thinking of like the chief of police, who is Detective Doghead Cop.
Detective
There is-
Bloodhound Man.
There is a beat cop who is a cat.
Who was a cat? Okay.
He doesn't say much. He's literally just in this as like a we have
Oh.
Hero Academia characters.
Mhm.
Hmm.
There's no reason it should be those same two cops like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't ultimately matter.
Chapter 4 happens, and we need to be reminded another Hero Academia character is here because we get Mike.
Hey
Sure.
guys, it's me, Present Mike, here to completely break the fourth wall and explain vigilantism. Do you guys think
Again.
it's illegal or morally incorrect? Turn that page. Whoa.
It's illegal, but our main characters have done nothing wrong other than assault that guy. But everyone was cool with that.
More moral ambiguity on 101.1 WMHA.
Yeah.
Woo!
But yeah, we have Koichi going home to his rooftop base of operations.
Like,
With-
it's insane because this is literally just like a standalone, like, modular home on top of an abandoned building. And
Why was it
presumably-
put there?
Modular
Pres-
home, that's what it's called.
Presumably, he gets the full roof as like his yard. So it's insane the amount of space he has in a city.
Uh-huh. But like, I guess because it's at the top of a old building that's going to be demolished one day, they're just like, whatever, rents dirt cheap.
This is also in the Power Abandoned Buildings district.
Which you have to have a lot of in a superhero universe.
That way we can blow up lots of buildings and the casualties can still be 0.
I love the joke at the beginning of this chapter where they walk into Knuckle Duster with his mask off eating. And it's just like, oh, so we're just doing a face reveal right now. Like,
And Koichi's immediate reaction is, oh god, I'm getting robbed! Which, I mean, that's not untrue. It's still, like... it's
Yep.
still that, but...
He puts on his bandana mask. Oh, hi, master.
yeah. And like, we then also get Pop Step coming in out of like costume. And it's just like, here's face reveals for everyone. It doesn't matter. Like,
Ugh.
Cool.
And we have the very common trope of the cute idol is like civilian frumpy.
she's not
Yep.
even civilian frumpy. She just doesn't do her hair. I get.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's it's a very low effort of a well-worn trope.
It's the classic of, she takes off her glasses and suddenly, whoa, serene.
Except honestly, she doesn't look that bad with the glasses on.
Yeah, she just needs to brush her damn hair. Like, it's,
Yeah.
which she can clearly do. So maybe she's doing this on purpose. It's unclear.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
What-
Do
I
I
mean-
need to unpack for you the whole pretty versus unattractive girl trope that women have been talking about for like ages? See Princess Diaries. This girl has always been attractive, but because she has slightly frizzy hair and wears glasses, that apparently means she is absolutely horrible. Don't even get me started on that.
Yes, it's a very low effort basic trope. Correct.
Anyway, I've done up my pigtails and I put on my mask, so you know it's me. I'm gonna get changed to my hero outfit. Do not come into my curtained off area, you pervert. No peeping on me. When did
This
those
is my
curtains-
house.
You're in my house. What?
When did those curtains get there? Did you install those?
It's like she doesn't even go to the bathroom. She's just like, no, I'm doing it in the living room.
And then
Why?
getting mad at you for like, what?
You literally just broke into my house. Also, it's weird that her mask, air quotes, is literally her just caking makeup on, right? Like, that's weird, right?
I think the mask is also a mask, I thought.
Well, when
Oh, no,
in the
she
first
does
chapter,
just-
when she cries, it runs.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You know, she's putting on her pigtail bows, and I guess I just thought she was affixing her mask, but no, you're right. She is drawing on eye black.
And it's so we can continue the same trope that Jay was just talking about, where it's like, she wears all that makeup so fake.
So
yeah, it's the same trope that women will get if we don't wear makeup to work. People assume that we are sick.
yeah.
No, this is just what my face looks like. Thank you. Sorry, this really cuts deep. It's a thing.
I'm just saying, when you're sick, you give up on taking care of yourself. So maybe that is the warning sign.
I'm just saying. Maybe makeup shouldn't just be I'm taking care of myself, but maybe I'm trying to sell an illusion.
See, that's why I'm a very honest person. I've never worn makeup a day in my life, except for
That's not
basically
true.
all of theater.
That's not true.
Oh boy, I'm gonna pull a Switzerland on this entire conversation.
Well, no. So the thing I will say, I don't think it's weird to have eye black as her mask, because that is
Yeah,
actually the
it's
much more realistic bandana than like Batman.
Okay.
Because like even Batman Beyond Batman is a giant mask that he then eye blacks under, because like those Zorro masks over the eyes aren't really obscuring your identity anyway.
Mm.
Not that her identity is being obscured here, but it doesn't. I don't think Hiroaka cares about your identity being obscured.
It really does. No, yeah, that's okay. That's something weird. And so it's funny because with the pro heroes, it kind of makes sense how blasé they are about like actually covering their faces. They're, the thing I find cool, and again, like if you go too deep, it starts breaking down. But like if you read it on the surface level, it intends to be. I really like the through line of Hero Society started off as vigilantes reacting to extreme circumstances, so they wore masks because vigilantism is a crime. But as it became institutionalized, it stopped being a crime because of the cultural aspect of superheroes wearing masks. Even the pro heroes wear masks, even though their names are like known by the public because they're public servants. All of that to say, nobody in Vigilantes cares about hiding their identity, even though they really freaking should. Careful about not taking his mask off.
So my comment about this is, so we got a glimpse into this when we were like with our first reading where we were discovering Deku and everything, where they were exploring quirks. My question is, do we feel like there is some kind of national categorization of quirks and that the mask is kind of a moot point because in some form people's quirks are categorized in some way already?
yeah.
So it's
Well,
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like we know generally what quirks people have. So if push come to shove, they're like, I can ID this person. Wearing the mask is kind of just.
It's not in this chapter, but the next one, when the villain that pops up in this one gets defeated and captured by the police. The cop investigating the vigilantes and the trigger outbreak, like his partner is searching the quirk registry for the villain, and the cop says, "Don't bother." He was taking that trigger hit. It completely changed up his quirk, so whatever he was registered under won't be a match.
Well, yeah, and that was kind of the whole point I was making. The masks for the main like the main series, like the pro heroes wearing masks, is a cultural holdover from before heroes became institutionalized. And I like that. That's cool. That it makes sense. Like the progression, the societal progression makes sense there. What doesn't make sense is the fact that Koichi will constantly take off his mask and people will just see his face regularly.
Almost immediately after they just committed a crime,
Yeah.
and talk to each other how what they did was a crime, but it's okay because they've never had to face any consequences for anything they've done, which is kind of the point of a vigilante kind of thing, is they should be. I guess they run from the cops, don't they? But like, that's just how a chapter ends.
Right now we're still introducing the characters. It's lighthearted. I wholly expect at some point they're going to cross a line and it's going to be a whole arc about, okay, here come the consequences due. They haven't gotten to that yet, but like it is it is weird when they acknowledge that and then Koichi just doesn't care about the fact that he's not obscure. Especially because his outfit actually does do a good job of obscuring his identity. Like, say what you will about domino masks. Domino masks get more crap than they deserve. It's actually harder to identify people, especially in like action scenes, than people give it credit for. But there is also the factor of, how well is your mask actually obscuring you? Koichi actually is fully obscuring his face. Like, he would actually not be identifiable. And then the other thing that's sort of interesting is that it's later on, and we're going to have to talk about it eventually, but apparently there are other people who have a functionally identical quirk to Koichi. So yeah, there's a quirk registry, but like it's still not necessarily going to like guarantee immediate identification. But like, I think the reason why it doesn't feel like the consequences can come due is because Koichi is so laissez-faire about his mask. Like, I feel like them being like tracked down is going to be a plot point later that won't make sense because of what's going on right now.
Indeed.
So this is where we get that that flashback Jay mentioned earlier, where he's like, I'm renting this really big place because I was going to college and I had this dream of, I'm gonna have such a cool hangout spot. All my friends can come over after drinking. And then he goes out drinking with his college senpais. He's got a fridge full of beer, even though he's too young to drink beer, because he's just like, when my friends come over, they can get drunk. And then he's just like, okay, come on, let's go up to my room. There's plenty of space. It's like a whole house, basically. Just a cool place to chill. And they're like, ew, gross. He wants to take us to this abandoned building. He's into guys, girls, whatever he can grab.
They really did my man
Direct
so
quote.
dirty. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
jeez.
And it's
I would
then
hang out. I would hang out in that place. That seems
Yeah.
cool.
It's then juxtaposed with him sitting alone, going like, this place is really big. I got a great deal on this. It's bigger than I thought. Too big. And then we cut back to his...
Now it's too small because
now
these
it's too
people
small
will
because
leave.
he's got homeless people living in there with him.
He's got freeloaders now. Again, it's a really funny joke, but I feel genuinely bad that he's really just getting his stuff stolen. I mean, quite frankly, he could put his foot down harder, but...
Well, the beer was always for friends.
Yeah.
His friends are now an old, man.
He could put his foot down harder, but again, very depressed. This poor boy.
Oh, I just feel bad for him.
We get a mini arc of Pop Step leading her fans on too much because one of them turns into a giant eel and starts attacking her.
I don't think that's her fault. Like,
no, it's not. I'm just saying that's what the arc's about, though.
Yeah.
Because
it's weird.
She's doing one of her shows, and there's a guy at like the back of the crowd who wants to get closer, but the crowd pushes him back. And then who should appear but our Joe X-Men, who are like, "Hey, kid, listen. I know that you really like Miss Pop too. We all do. We're all huge stans. But
Hold
you can't
on.
just go.
You can't be a weirdo. By the way, I'm going to ejaculate my eye laser into the sky because I love her so much. Yeah, does that turn you on, Pop Step? Yeah.
The kinetic blaster.
What?
But they're like being so nice. It's just like, hey man, listen, we all gotta, take our place in the crowd to support Pop Step. That's what being a fan of Hiroshi is like. And he's like, no, I'm taking the drugs. I'm turning into a giant eel. That's amore.
I'm gonna do so many drugs.
I've become a giant eel. I'm gonna slime Pop Step.
And then it's just a giant eel fight.
He just chases her around the city. This big old... He's really freaking big.
Yep. Pop Step is convinced that all she needs to do is handshake him and then he'll go away. This was bad advice, but it was Koichi who said it, so of course it was bad advice.
Fair point.
Hey, have you ever considered just giving the weird pervert what he wants? Maybe that'll make him go away.
Incidentally, it didn't make him go away.
Yeah. But no,
To be
it's,
fair, I like Knuckle Duster in this because he's very much just out of this shit. He's just like, I don't fucking care, man. Let's just let him slap you on the ass, I guess, because that's what you're selling to him. And he's like, shut up. We don't talk about that.
Yeah. I don't like the trope that. Okay, I guess I should like point this out now. I don't like the trope that Pop Step is invoking. I like her character.
Yeah.
I
yes.
wish that she did not have the particular gimmick she does.
Of being an idol, but not a good singer. So she's just a sex worker.
Yeah,
Like, that's what she's doing.
yeah.
Like,
And it muddies this whole thing because yeah, this is weird and gross and I don't like any part of it, but I don't like the fact that there's an argument that she was kind of leaning, having her face in there and is
Respect other people's bodily autonomy, unless you're using unless you're intentionally setting a trap for the pervert eel so that you can drop flour on him so he can get beaten up.
Wait, pervert eels? What?
oh, so the problem was she didn't sign on to that being a trap.
No, she didn't.
I know. Yeah, this chapter's weird.
I mean, it's
I-
weird, but it teaches you a very, very important lesson. One, as an idol, you do have to deal with creeps. This creep happened to take it too far. But yes, being an idol is gross.
So typically your creeps don't have superpowers is really the...
Yeah,
that is
basically.
also an important factor.
Yes.
So we're halfway through our reading, and we'll be right back after this. And welcome back to the show, folks, where last we left our... Actually, they're distinctly not heroes, never mind. They had just saved Pop Step from a rabid fan, and he went and got captured by the police, which points out some interesting stuff about the, overall plot of this. Because, he, gives the interrogation of just I don't know, man, it gave me a lot of power. It made me strong. I felt like I could do anything. Oh, the guy who gave it to me, he's just a guy who gave it to me. I assumed that because he was trying to help. He was a good guy. It's oh, buddy.
He's a doctor because he's giving me medicine that fixes my problem. And my problem is I can't get laid.
Apparently. But
Ugh.
yeah, the pattern is that all of the pop-up villains that got captured were just kind of given the stuff by a dude in an alley, which the cops are rightly okay, there's got to be something more going on here because they're not having to pay for it. They're not repeat customers or anything. What's the deal here? What's the angle? What's he trying to do? This is a drug dealer. It's the biggest drug dealer of all time.
My favorite part about this interaction is we get confirmed by the police that Trigger is not a controlled substance, so they can't actually even arrest this guy.
Yeah, I was a bit confused about that one.
Well,
I think it's supposed to be it's not a controlled substance yet because it's so new.
Yeah, that's
But
kind of what I was hearing.
they don't make that explicit.
Yeah.
They say it's illegal, but
They don't have anything to get him on right now, but they're this is probably going to be a scheduled substance, but it's too new, but...
It's interesting because they do make a kind of derisive comment about the rest of the world by saying some other places in this terrible crapsack world that aren't Japan, the epitome of culture, allow this kind of drug use.
Hint,
My
hint, nudge,
God.
nudge.
I do
But then
also
they're
like. I do also like the fact that the one guy is I'm just going to explain the plot right now. And I can't tell if this is setting up that he's a mole or not, because it's so aggressively obvious.
They just let him free and then they follow him.
he immediately runs into the X-Men bros who are hey bro, man, that was crazy what happened at the Pop Step show the other day. But hey, how about you talk to us about it? Don't go doing drugs now. Hey, you want some merch? Oh, we gotta send a report to Miss Step about this. They're just good informants.
Yeah, it literally
I love these
reminds
guys.
me...
They're great.
Yeah.
Then we get Pop Step and Koichi going on a not date.
Totally not a date.
They're just walking around. Pop Step is wearing the outfit that that one weird girl from Monochrome Days was wearing to the debut of her museum exhibit.
You're
Yes.
right.
Yes.
I mean, not exactly, but basically the same
It's
vibe.
basically- Yes,
It's
yeah.
Pop Step branded, but otherwise the same out.
And she instantly gets recognized by a tomboy with an eye patch.
Very tomboy. I didn't notice when when I heard the pronouns. I was a bit surprised.
So anyway, Pop Step takes a picture with her fan, gets called that she's on a date with her boyfriend, which Pop Step is just like, oh no, it's not like I like him or that or anything. And Koichi's just like, no way, no.
Well,
No.
okay, so she is a second-year high schooler. He is in college.
Yeah, no, this would be a really weird situation.
Yeah, no, it's his reaction is totally reasonable, but her reaction to his reaction is also very funny.
Well, actually, he's 19 and she's 17.
Yeah, no,
I know, but
it's not that different, but
It's
like,
not that different, but I can see from his point of view. He's trying to date college. He's trying.
Yeah, no. Both of them have perfectly reasonable reactions, and her reaction is extremely funny.
And her reaction is, what do you mean I'm not even within your hemisphere? We're like co-workers, essentially. And he's just like, no. No.
You're just not my type, girl. Like, honestly.
I all of this is trying too hard. What? I also like how it seems like every panel not Wolverine shows up in, he becomes more and more just a round ball.
He becomes more and more. He's dwarf maxing. He's gonna be carrying a pickaxe and have a full beard soon.
Well, anyway, the not X-Men want to talk with them, and that prompts us to get a side story of, oh no, the girl who just took a picture with Pop Step is actually a villain because her eye is full of bees.
I hate it so much. I hate her power the most. I don't like it.
I love her. And actually, spoiler alert, she's one of my villains. I love everything about her.
I love this character so much.
Yes.
The character is fine. I like the character. I do not like the beehive eye. No, don't like it. Go away.
I do. And that's
So
I
partially,
love it.
Yes, I love it.
Is it a portal, or does she just have a honeycomb inside her head?
Yes. Thank you for the
Okay.
question.
I'm just wondering, is it Cyclops rules where behind her eye is a portal to the bee dimension?
Probably.
Sure.
I also like how her bees aren't regular bees. They're bees with syringes on their butts.
Yeah, they
Yep.
got syringe stingers, and
Because
it's all full of trigger.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she just goes
Yeah, it
around
is.
triggering people.
Yeah, she does.
Ah.
Yeah.
I see.
I'm so triggered right now. You're welcome.
Her plan is then to release a swarm of bees that injects a crowd of people with the drug that causes them to turn into villains.
Yes.
And then the heroes show up immediately because of course they would. Also, Ash and Pikachu are on the street, and that's really fun.
Yeah, that was yes. Just in case you weren't sure.
There's one guy who gets set on fire. One guy whose palms explode in blood. One lady succumbs to the frenzied flame as fire spews out of her eyes.
Well, it's because it amplifies your quirk, so anything that might be relatively mundane is amplified X amount of times. So
So
who
that
knows?
poor woman just spurts fire out of her eyes.
Yes.
It's just really funny. Because this entire time, what we've been told the benefit of vigilantes is that they work in the neighborhood. They can react immediately to things that regular heroes are too busy to deal with. They can punch people before they turn into monsters and get them out of here. And we get 27 people turn into villains. And the heroes are there within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Every major hero is there.
They've been scoping out this neighborhood for a bit, I think, is they do touch upon that. Like, who I forget his name, but Eraser guy definitely reported.
Eraserhead.
Yeah, Eraserhead definitely reported he picked up on this neighborhood on his day off, like 100%. So it's not like they're flying under the radar, hasn't anything reported, you know.
I'm just saying, they've got like 8 pro heroes here, and all they needed was best genus.
The
Yeah.
greatest of all the heroes.
The most powerful guy.
Yeah, I mean, like, it makes sense because they are, like, staking out the area, but also, like, the point is it makes it feel like the mission statement from earlier was pointless. The plot and the themes aren't really meshing well in this chapter.
It's also like All Might was able to show up here, and we know I don't know when this is in All Might's timeline, but like this is a valuable resource he's spending right now. But I guess I don't know. This was an excuse to have a bunch of heroes people recognize have a fight scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that is an interesting thought because this is before like I think like arc 3-ish in the manga. Or maybe our reading 3, because sometimes we do more than per thing. But this is later we see Ingenium. Like pre-injury Ingenium. So this is before Stain.
Yeah, this is before Stain.
Whether or not that's before or after All Might has been crippled, we don't know. I sort of assumed that this is.
Well, I mean, he was killed in the final fight with One for All, and that was when like the current state of the world started. So,
I guess
he's spending a valuable resource in that case.
This feels like something we could also just look up, and we're not going to.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the heroes clean up all the villains, which is especially kind of morally shaky because they were just regular people.
Yeah, that was.
Wow, look at all these heroes doing really cool things. All Might really went and smashed that big guy really hard. Big guy looks so confused. He doesn't know why he's here.
He's the hero.
He's just trying to go to work.
Yeah, because that's what the heroes do. Meanwhile, vigilantes chase bees that are really weird to run after, I guess. I don't.
Yeah.
Knuckle Duster knows to chase after this bee because this bee is evil.
He captures the bee and then specifically goes to Jotaro Wolverine for some reason. It's like, there's a suspicious character, a bee user. You have to find the bees. It's a deadly bee weapon. My God.
He's yelling at Wolverine because he needs to tell the audience this, and I don't know why.
Because then how else would the audience know?
But
other than all of the other things that make it obvious to the audience.
He crushes the bee, which hurts Queen Bee.
Which is really horrifying, considering she shoots swarms of bees out of her head, but one of them dying causes like a noticeable wound.
Yeah, blood to leak from her eye. Pretty freaky.
Anyway, she's probably gonna kill this kid because she's taking him down an alleyway.
Yeah, slimy eel fanboy.
Oh, but this is the end of volume 1, so we get a fun little Horikoshi drew the 3 main characters from this, and I'm like, yo, my boy Horikoshi, you can't just let a flat chick live. Because damn.
Excuse me?
Horikoshi can't let a flat chick live.
I think the statement speaks for itself.
Because he draws all the characters, and they look pretty on model, except Pop Step looks like Horikoshi drew her. I don't know how else to say that.
With that, we our last 3 chapters are sort of a little in between arc. We get some of the greater like story setup, but this is mainly establishing like more backstory and character deepening stuff for our trio of main heroes. The heroes, air quotes.
We're also starting to delve more deeply into like who our main antagonist is, because Queen Bee has established herself as I am going to be the rival TM.
Yeah, she's the arc villain. But she has a very obvious boss who is like talking through an earpiece, talking through like an AirPod at her.
This is where we get the trio of villain perverts who have glide and slip. I think I think
Glide and slide, I think.
glide and
Yeah.
slide. I think main characters is slide and glide. So they have
Yeah.
like the opposite order. Their power is also way better because they work like ice skaters, which
Yep.
is just such an insanely better power.
But they use their power for evil, and by evil, well, they go around, find women wearing skirts. The first guy flips, the other strips, taking off her panties, and the third guy wears. They're the gorilla panty raids, I guess.
They're just perverts.
They're
Just
just
perverts.
perverts.
The perverts
I like
doing pervert
perverts.
things.
I like Koichi because he's talking to these guys. He's just like, I mean, they're weirdos, but they're not like beat the shit out of them weirdos. He's
they're
morally conflicted. He's just like, stop.
You don't
doing
understand. These gentlemen deserve to be shamed.
that." Well, no, he explicitly doesn't say that because he's just like, well, you got to respect people's fetishes. And Pop Step is like, what
are you
He
talking
actually
about?
says, like, he needs to be on the podcast, is what I'm hearing.
Listen, I get that stealing is wrong and they shouldn't be doing this to unsuspecting women, but if they could get someone who consents, I mean, like, why would I stop
I'm just
them?
saying, I'm not here to judge. I
We don't
just need it
kink shame.
explained to me.
He's 100% not judging because he's just like, this is Japan. There are vending machines, my dude. Like, just go do that. It's not a crime. And they're like, nah, we like the thrill of the chase. He's just like,
I'm
I'm
like,
sure
alright.
there's a way you could do this that wouldn't be illegal.
It's not
It's
the
like,
same.
nah, we want to be criminals. And it's just like,
All right,
I
you guys are just
still
weird.
don't. It's like, I still don't want to beat the shit out of you. Because, like, I don't feel like the crime warrants this. Like, it's
Too late, Knuckle Duster has arrived.
yeah, Knuckle Duster's like, I want to rip their tongues out to see if they do drugs.
Anyway, let's keep moving on.
Yeah, Knuckle Duster also doesn't know they were committing crimes. He just beat the shit out of these guys and checked their tongues.
They were wearing
As-
weird outfits. Nobody coordinates like that unless they're up to no good.
We also
Oh yeah.
we also get the fun exposition where Knuckle Duster is talking to Koichi and he's just like, yes, so we must be fighting a B user or something. Oh, I heard that from Wolverine because you didn't tell me that. You told a third character that. But it's just cleaner if we just have this conversation one-to-one. But I need to say that I heard it from Wolverine so it makes sense. And I'm like, I don't. Buddy, it doesn't matter. just go.
Yeah.
Just have your characters talk to each other.
They're having this conversation while doing some boxing training, and apparently Knuckle Duster's been very like quiet and reserved since that incident.
He's notably not been smiling at all, like, because again, he doesn't do it all the time, but he often has the All Might smile, and
Mhm.
that's been gone from his countenance for a while.
But they talk about how he's like holding his like full power back.
Yeah.
Both for training and also so he doesn't kill the people that they attack. He just beats them to near death. That's still overdoing it, Koichi. Why are you saying this admiringly? Did he hit you in the head too hard?
Why are you defending this, Koichi? This is bad.
Also, Koichi, what do you mean he's holding back his power? So he's just effectively got super strength then. Shut up. We then
he is quirkless in the same way that Batman is a normal human.
yeah.
Again, he's really only got the aesthetic, but I understand why he's compared to Batman.
So we then cut to like we were saying earlier, B user's got a guy in her ear talking to him on the phone. This man is monologuing so much. I thought she was listening to a villain podcast because I missed the first like interaction this was a phone call. But no, it's like I literally like halfway through I was reading this, I'm just like, man, she's just listening to like villain affirmation podcast. You go, girl.
She has exposition boss.
Yeah. And then she just finds a crack addict, like just a crackhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a random crackhead. She's like, "Hey, crackhead, you want like super steroids. It'd be pretty cool. You could go smash stuff. Give me the drugs.
I'm gonna do so many drugs. I'm gonna rip copper
Use-
wire out of the fence post and sell them for more drugs.
I'm gonna take 3 of these syringes at once.
2 of them in my face, 1 of them in my ass. That was me eating ass for money for more drugs.
I'm going to fly away now. Have fun being a bad guy. How are you flying? I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna become big. And
How is she flying?
I don't know. But
because
also,
of bees.
Because
Okay,
of
yeah.
bees.
I thought that was just the Vigilantes thing when characters go off screen, they jump in between buildings even if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But in flipping through this chapter, I just realized what the reference this guy is. This is just Aaron Yeager.
Yeah. So I've brought it up slightly, but I will say it is kind of obnoxious that not a single character isn't a reference to something.
Yeah.
It's
Like, if this
literally
was a-
just that, like, all of the main characters are their own thing, but every
What?
non-main character.
So yes and no though, because Knuckle Duster is kind of just Batman.
Yeah.
And we already went over that Pop Step's
Which
Oh yeah, Pop Step is a reference
costume
too.
is just stolen from another character.
Yeah, and Koichi is depressed Deku / Spider-Man.
He's at least trying to be his own thing. He's at least like, what if All Might Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because the thing for Koichi is that like he draws a lot of very direct parallels to Deku, but they're intentional narrative parallels. Like that's not the same thing as like ripping off another character design. And yeah, I mean, you do enough references, eventually it gets tedious. Like cool as it is that some of these are in here, it's fun when you recognize them, but when it's every character.
When Cyclops and Wolverine are main characters in your manga,
Like, if it
Mhm.
had stopped with them, I don't think it would have been a problem. But it didn't.
this would also be fine if this were a lighter-hearted series. It's when this is supposed to be the gritty vigilante version, which is saying something because Hiroaka gets really dark out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I guess not out of nowhere, it just goes in that direction. So Vigilantes being the dark version of that's kind of insane. So
Yeah.
instead, the let's have
Yeah, no, the references affect the tone because, like, honestly, Hiroaka's pretty good at managing its tone. It's an optimistic series, but it has a lot of dark elements to it. Vigilantes, again,
It
it's
does
still
get a lot of references, but it's usually like more subtle
they're not
stuff,
as aggressive as this. Yeah,
like a misspelled Star Wars name as a street.
I will say the author's notes at the end of this chapter don't reference Attack on Titan in any way. But I don't know.
yeah. What, I mean, not for nothing, all the references kind of make them. Yeah, it's a matter of I'm not 100% sure what tone Vigilantes is going for because, as far as I can tell, it's still introducing itself and it's going to get progressively like the stakes are going to be raised progressively. It's starting off low stakes and it's going to get more and more serious. But like the references are already bordering on distracting.
Yeah. And like the tone is weird because this chapter then ends with B-Girl having met an anonymous man for presumably sex.
Yeah.
Like
That's really dark.
You're Honey from the app, right? That's right, mister. I want to see your wild side.
So she's seducing these men into a relationship to get them hooked on drugs. Which is dark, but like that's not the series isn't dark. So
yeah.
it's interesting. So these next 2 chapters are, hey, did you really like Ida from Hiroaka? Here's his brother, and his brother is also Koichi's best friend. It's weird.
So yeah, the previous chapter ends with Knuckle Duster going, Omoshiroi, a worthy opponent, finally! And getting to go all out on a big, tough, bad guy makes him happy again. Cool. He's just a violent like asshole who channels it in a sort of
into something theoretically positive.
Yeah. So you can see why I completely forgot we hadn't talked about the ending because
It
Knuckle
just
Duster
kinda
does a
happens.
Knuckle Duster thing. Like,
Yeah, it's the least effective of these three like character chapters.
Mhm. Yeah, because I mean, honestly, I really like the chapter focusing on Koichi because honestly, Ingenium's a fun character, and you know
Hmm.
it's like I like the relationship between the two, where I mean they kind of just like bump into each other jogging and just having a casual conversation. And I mean, one of the fun things about Hiroaka is like figuring out and further developing quirks, which honestly is probably the real reason why Koichi hasn't done a lot of experimenting with it, so that we can actually see it happen.
Yeah.
Not That's not necessarily a good excuse, but it's the reason.
I really hate this one. I think I like this less than the. Hey, have you ever thought about wearing gloves?
Yeah, because it's like because it's Ida's big brother from Ida from the main series. It's his big brother Tensei.
I don't want
And
to get into it here, but I just want to say the quirk is they have engines in their legs.
yes,
His superhero suit is literally just a suit.
but it's so he meets Koichi. They're talking about their like speed quirks. It's like, hey, have you so how's your quirk work? I mean, I can go backwards and forwards. I can go side to side. I can spin. Don't really have any brakes though.
I can go the speed of a 10-speed bike. Oh, really? You sure you can't go faster? No, I can go faster. Oh, okay. I'm glad we established that now.
I can go faster. Just at that point, it gets really hard to control, and I don't have brakes, so I could hurt myself. You don't have brakes. Well, what if you tried accelerating in the other direction than the one you're going in? Holy crap!
And the fun bit is he then is immediately able to do it too. It's not
Yeah.
like this idea had never crossed him. It's the second this idea crosses him, he's just like, I also have complete control over my powers. I could have done this at any time.
Why didn't I try this before? I am an idiot. You've got real moxie, kid. How about you consider becoming my sidekick when you graduate college? Wow, mister. It's like everything that I've ever wanted. It's like when I lost the hero course as a kid. This is great.
Yeah, it's affirmation because again, like he didn't see his quirk as anything like good or useful, and here's an authority figure saying, hey, you can do things I can't. I pro hero would greatly benefit from you helping me out. And I mean, like I kind of like the fact that he's when Koichi's showing it off to everybody, he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna actually take him up on it, but the affirmation makes me really happy. I like that. It's a good character moment for him.
Mhm. I like how this villain that Jim keeps chasing is doing the exact same route every night because he's a douchebag.
He's just running. He's just on the streets, running at high speeds, causing motor accidents.
Yep.
Apparently, he is also a bat in addition.
So the second he undid the bat wings, I'm like, yo, I get the iShield 21 reference now.
But this is also where it's like, oh yeah, this used to be like a really car dense area, but then a major highway was put like off to the side, so nobody really drives through here anymore.
Yeah, this is the justification for why they don't run into cars.
Which doesn't make
It doesn't make sense, but
whatever.
It makes for cool panels.
But then the man bat runs into a populated area, and Jim's was like, oh crap, now there are cars. I gotta slow down or else I'll crash into cars because I'm too fast. And then the vigilantes come out of nowhere. It's just like, these are our streets, motherfucker. And they beat the shit out of this guy.
We're just some guys who don't mind lending justice a hand. Knuckle Duster and the Crawler. I'm not part of this. Okay, Pop. You keep.
Yeah,
you
okay,
keep telling
Pop Step.
yourself that.
Oh. Yeah, and the next day, Ingenium's like, I love that and he's like, I I don't officially condone what you're doing, but thanks.
But also, we're still friends.
I do feel bad that he takes the business card back though. Like, let him keep that, man.
I think he's just making a joke, and like he genuinely, when he sees he's disappointed about it, it's just like, no, that wasn't a serious
Yeah.
thing. You don't have to.
I am retracting the offer of you being my sidekick because it looks like you've got a team already. I wasn't, like, taking away my belief in you or anything.
Yeah. It's a cute moment.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I enjoyed this one.
We then get to chapter 7.5, which is really funny because the last chapter had two like fan contest heroes that got entered into like background characters as part of Ignium's team. And then one of the character designs, they were like, this is so cool. We have to make them their own character. And then it's just a chapter about what if someone got too big. And also, man, does Pop Step get horny when she sees a dude pick up trash?
Yep, she sure does.
Ugh.
Our final chapter is the Pop Step character chapter, where she arrives at the rooftop base. Oh, hey, Koichi, you're here. Yeah, this is my house. Anyway, I'm gonna raid the fridge. What are you doing? Repairing my hoodie. Why are you repairing that old hoodie? It's so like beaten up and old. It's because it's my special All Might merchandise hoodie. It gives me courage to wear it. Huh. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Oh wait, we're really physically close. I mean, it's lame.
Totally lame.
Dumb, Baka.
I'm embarrassed because you told me I couldn't eat this pudding, not because I like you or anything.
Anyway, I don't know what's so special about that lame hoodie. It is not lame. He goes like full Ash Ketchum with the hat. Like, it is not lame.
He then shows that his dresser is full of only that hoodie.
Well, no, it's every yearly edition of the merchandise hoodie.
Except there's only one missing from his collection. Let me give you the backstory.
About how I gave it to this stupid little boy. This real buff little boy. This incredibly masculine little boy.
When they started to emphasize, I don't know, there was like an emphasis of it. I gave this little, definitely a boy. I'm like, I know where this is going.
I didn't, because when I saw them put the hoodie on and they were purposely obscuring the face, I'm just like, God damn it, this is a character from Hero Aka I don't remember.
I mean, technically, but the twist is that it was not a little boy he saved.
Well, no, it was that little boy you saved was me. Also, I'm not a boy.
Yeah, because the thing is, when he was going to take the entrance exam for Hero High School, he stumbled across a scene where a kid fell into a river, and like the current was really rough, and the kid was going to drown, and he's like, I'm gonna be late to the exam, but person in need, screw it, hero business. All right, so he like leaps into the river. Is like, oh, it's actually really shallow. It's just a powerful current. Anyway, I'm gonna get the kid out of the river now. Quick, here, my All Might hoodie. Here's this to get warm. Unfortunately, I am super late to the exam. I gotta scram before I can confirm your name, face, or gender. Goodbye. And I was still late to the exam. Sometimes I wonder if that boy is still out there, having taken a part of my heroic soul with that hoodie and became a hero of his own.
Yeah, this is the part where it becomes more clear that like he actually had like meaningful heroic aspirations that kind of takes away from the idea that he just wasn't testing out like ways to improve his quirk up to that point.
And Pop's reaction to this is, that's stupid. You're stupid. That kid just screwed over your career path. I don't know why you're acting all like all cool about this. I'm leaving now, Baka. And
she
then
tries to go buy him apology desserts because she ate his last pudding, but fish. I almost said fist, Grandpa. God damn it. But knuckle dust. Sam, can we read Fist, Grandpa?
Sure, we'll do that after Dick Fight Island.
No, that's a different manga, okay? No.
That's what you young bucks don't understand. Sometimes your dick can't get hard, but you can sure fist a man.
But yeah,
Anyway,
Pop was the kid in the river, and she's been entranced with him ever since. Basically,
sure, why not?
I'll take your word for it.
Stalking him ever since.
We're establishing that connection right now. Why not?
Yep.
Mhm.
But yeah, Knuckle Duster eats the pudding because he ruins the cute moment.
Entranced. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
and
Yes.
anyway, she goes back to her room to sit in the dark while wearing her boyfriend's hoodie. I mean, her crush's hoodie. I mean,
It's so
so
hot.
it's weird because they kind of play it up like she looks up to him, but then also
Mhm.
make it very clear
Mhm.
that she's got romantic interest in him. So I don't know
Mhm.
what direction they're
Why
going
not
with
both?
this. You know what? You can do both. I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the thing is,
Yeah.
she's a teenager. I think she knows what direction it is, and that's kind of the point.
Although the author's notes in here do note that this was an after they got serialized decision. So there's a few
Mhm.
chapters where it's not super clear that this should have been the end goal, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a part of me that likes like the interconnectedness of it, and like it's an interesting character motivation, but it does come right the hell out of nowhere, which is a little annoying. I'm of two minds of it, and generally speaking, when I'm of two minds, I try to lean towards the more positive option, but it's not lost on me how contrived this is.
But they're in love. Well, no, Koichi's
Well,
not interested in all.
yeah.
Actually, is the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is actually the end of our reading.
Indeed it is. So, as we do with any shonen, favorite character and favorite fight. For me, I think actually Pop was my favorite character overall for this. I enjoyed her, like, sort of rounding out the team as being, like, the only one not depressed and with enough brain power to actually, like, effectively coordinate this stuff. And, I don't know, as contrived and last-minute decision-y as it was, I think it's, I think it's an interesting enough, like, secret connection with Koichi to, serve as a good hook to continue reading. Also, her ability to weaponize her simps is very funny.
I mean, why have them if you can't weaponize?
Exactly.
That's a
Am I
fair
right,
point.
ladies?
Ladies, you should weaponize your simps more.
Yes.
Exploit them for devious ends. The world needs it.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just saying there's an understanding there. I don't feel as bad.
On this podcast, we support both women's rights and women's wrongs.
Excuse me.
Sam, you know women can never be wrong.
Correct.
Exactly.
Good match.
Because to be wrong, you had to have failed at something, which means you stood any chance of succeeding in the first place.
How dare you?
And my favorite fight was, honestly, I think it was Knuckle Duster versus Eren Yeager. Because, like, it was just a good punch him up. A good solid fight. And I liked how, he just used the fact that he had a big, obvious, like, Souls boss uber kill move swing to get the KO punch in. Jake, how about you?
I actually really liked most of the characters. Like even a character like Tensei that wasn't even in it very much, having a pretty noticeable impact. But honestly, I think that Knuckle Duster is probably my favorite character because, like, I mean, for one, I like the aesthetic. I've been playing a lot of Batman Arkham games lately. He's a fun character, and I kind of like the fact that he's a little bit crazy, and you're not really supposed to trust him. It's sort of, to me, like the Schrodinger's plot hook of, the direction that the series is going to take, whether it's going to ultimately cite that, like, because of the failings of Hero Society that they're on the right path, or like perhaps like their path is just as flawed, somewhere in between. There's a lot of directions you can go, and he's an element of were thrown into that. Honestly, Pop Step's probably going to be second on the list for the reasons Sam mentioned. As for favorite fight, I actually really liked the salaryman turning into the four-armed giant. Really great. Both heroic moment and like goofy moment for the main character. I like the ways in which they made him both cool and inadequate, because it's, you know, like this is his potential and this is how far he has to go. And also, I like mobility in fights, and it was mostly a mobility based fight, especially before Eraserhead came in and summarily ended it. The fights were also really good too. There were like a couple of standout ones, but yeah, those are my picks.
All right. Jay, how about you? Favorite character, favorite fight?
So, favorite character, I kind of because I like the step, but I did not really care for her costuming. Just was a complete pass for me. Maybe it's been over, but it was much all at once. Maybe that's what she's going for. It did not attract me. So I have to go with Queen Bee, Kuin. I like her mystique. I like that she is a woman in charge. I love the concept. I'm looking forward to how the plot can develop. As far as fight, however, I actually don't know if I have one, because I feel like the fights are just... I didn't come away with the fact they were really distinct, perhaps. I felt like they were more background. I mean, certainly they serve their purpose in allowing our main character exhibit their capabilities and their character. I have to say, from that standpoint, I didn't really have a particular fight that drew my attention. But if I had to go with what was the most entertaining, I would have to definitely say that fight with Koichi, and because that was just kind of unexpected, I guess. If I had to pick one. Yeah, I kind of viewed, at least in our reading, as some of the fights, at least thus far, have been kind of, or maybe it was just my reading of it, they were kind of background, and more like character development was front and center, more front.
They were competently executed basic fights. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
All right. And Matt, favorite character, favorite fight?
Yeah, I gotta go with Queen Bee. She's weird. She's way darker than the rest of this series, so maybe she's gonna bring the entire tone down, which would be fun.
Here's
I don't
hoping.
know. Yeah, she's I don't know. It's kind of insane that her plan was to just let a bunch of bees out to do a bunch of drugs in people, and then have the heroes immediately beat up innocent civilians. The police had a whole monologue about maybe that's to disorder people's faith in government, and I'm like, maybe, sure, why
The
not?
fact that that's not your immediate go-to is concerning, but all right.
Yeah. And then favorite fight, I'm gonna side with Jay here. I don't think any of the fights were like they're action set pieces. They don't really push the plot forward. The plot is normally just a fight is happening and then plot happens alongside it. If I had to pick a fight, I guess the fight against the Ch.1 ripoff is pretty fun, because it's them having to learn to like chase after him, and then he just gets one shot and beaten the shit out of by the vigilantes. It's like, you're in our neighborhood now. And then they like shank him and take his wallet. And Ingium's just like, you vigilantes are all right.
All right. Thoughts on the this versus like mainline MHA, or like plot predictions, sort of just general plot discussion. Honestly, I don't really have. I think the obvious thing is it's going to be revealed that like Trigger is somehow linked to the whole League of Villains thing. Like, even if it's just something to make like I don't know, the appearance of kind of like normalize more and more dangerous villains or something. But it feels like the sort of thing where it's eventually going to be connected to I forget his name, Freaky Hand Man.
Shigaraki.
Yes,
Yeah, him.
Shigaraki. Freaky man, hand man is an apt description. There's way too much inappropriate dojin.
Okay.
I'm not mad. Not mad.
Okay.
Well, completely not gonna touch that. So anyway, I think I went into this expecting, based on the first chapter and by the title, it would be a little darker than Hiroaka, like a kind of more grounded street level thing. I don't think I got that. I'm not really sure how this is different from Hiroaka in any way. It's kind of just more Hiroaka, which I realize is dumb because people want a spin-off because it's more of the show they like. But you guys have heard me talk about Hiroaka for 3 episodes of this podcast. You know I don't like Hiroaka.
Yeah, and yeah, I to kind of piggyback off of that, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but I don't necessarily know how, because if it firmly fits into the genre of, shonen protagonist. I understand what the message they are trying to convey. It doesn't give me enough to really grasp onto for why I should be super invested in it that other series I think have been able to provide, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into this question. Like, I don't know what I'd do for a plot prediction because I don't know what Vigilantes is trying to be.
Yeah. The thing for me is I feel like in the 8 chapters we read, and we read 8 chapters, but this is a monthly series. The chapters are not short. To a large degree, I feel like it hasn't tonally and thematically gotten off the ground yet, and not for nothing, but we read a decent chunk of it, so that's not good.
This is the amount we normally read of a series, so I
Yeah,
feel
so it should
completely fine
probably
judging it.
Yeah, it should probably get its engines going a little bit by this point. To some degree, I kind of feel like the 3 chapters we ended on should have come much sooner.
Well, no, because they need to have Eraserhead have a fight. That tells you nothing about Knuckle Duster, really. Just
Yeah. So one thing I want to point out that I found interesting, because this is a series of thoughts that I had, and it sort of goes into the idea of what the plot predictions are going to be. And like Matt mentioned, they want to spin off because it's something similar. A spinoff needs to cut a fine line of being different enough from the original that it's something worth going to in addition, but it also is contingent on people liking the other thing. There's a space in which it needs to be. And one of the first thoughts I had when reading chapter 7 was the idea that, oh, we know what happens to Ingenium eventually. And is there going to be a thing about how this is going to be a road for Koichi to maybe become a pro hero, and then it gets torn away by the injury he sustains? And then I realized, wait a second, they can't do that. That's why they basically part ways at the end of that chapter. They can't do that because it's Stain that does it to him. And unless they break Stain out of prison to have Stain have a fight with the Vigilantes, they can't have resolution to that plot line. So that's why they introduce Ingenium. He's there for a chapter, but then he basically says, okay, never gonna see you again at the end of it. And it kind of builds up a concern that it's like we have an Eraserhead cameo really early on. There's a bunch of scenes where the pro heroes show up in the neighborhood to do things. Even if it's justified in why they're showing up, it's like, here's a bunch of characters that there's a level of I hope that Vigilantes lets itself be its own thing in the Hiroaka universe. I hope it doesn't tie itself too closely to the main timeline, because then why isn't this part of or not main timeline, the main series. If it's not like if it's gonna be that tied into the, then is the main series gonna reference Vigilantes? If you're not into Vigilantes, that's a problem. Like American comic books have this problem with tie-ins. It's not a good sign. I hope Vigilantes will stand on its own 2 feet in the Hiroaka universe, but separate from the main story.
Jacob, you need 3 points of contact. That's not enough.
You need at least 3 references per chapter. Yeah, that's sort of the thing for me is if this is, I'm worried that Vigilantes isn't confident enough to be its own thing, and I don't know how that's gonna go, especially with how slow it's been. Yeah.
Indeed. So, I guess that kind of dovetails neatly into would you continue reading? Honestly, I think I kind of got my fill of it. It gave me basically the same, like, experience I got from the start of MHA, but with a slightly different flavor. And it's like, I enjoyed the start of MHA, so getting it in a slightly different flavor sure is nice. Don't know if I want to keep going, though. So, yeah, it's an from me. Particularly because, like, while I enjoyed the character-focused chapters, the character focus of the last 3 chapters, they didn't do anything really, like, to compel... I guess I'm reversing what I said earlier about...
It's fun, but it doesn't draw you in.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. But yeah, Matt, would you continue reading?
Oh man, yeah, I loved this. This was great. This was just like Hiroaka, except more, and it clearly has less care put into it. No, I didn't like this. I don't know. There's nothing really wrong with it, is the thing. Like, it's fine. I just don't like it, and I don't think I was ever gonna like it. So I can't even be like upset at this. It's just like it's what I expected. Well, it's actually less than what I expected, but it can't disappoint me because I expected nothing from it. So yeah, no, I would not continue reading.
Right. And Jay, how about you?
So, as I kind of hinted at before, it's really just really to ground me into the series. So, yeah, I probably wouldn't continue reading. It's entertaining, but I'm not connected to any one of the characters or any of the characters, like, implicitly. Their story does not... I'm not sold, I guess.
Yeah.
And Jacob.
Yeah, I think that kind of makes it unanimous. It's fun. It's well enough done. It has some problems, but there's nothing to say it couldn't right the ship in the future, but I don't know if I want to invest the time. If I was overflowing with time and starved for Hiroaka content, I'd probably be keen on it. But we read an arc of manga every week in addition to the stuff I carry with on my own. And if the main story Hiroaka has fallen enough down the list that I'm behind on that one, I'm not gonna read the spinoff.
Especially
I
when
feel
the
bad.
spinoff hasn't shown itself to do anything new or interesting.
Yeah, I feel bad saying no because I like all of its individual pieces, but it's not come together into a complete picture in 8 monthly chapters, and that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
So it's
like almost a year's worth of reading.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like I really genuinely don't want to say no, but because I don't have infinite time, I know what's going to be on the chopping block. Like I no illusions that I'll have the time to get to it.
All right, and yeah, that about does it. Thank you, everybody, once again for tuning into the Over Manga Cast. As always, you can find us on all your social medias where we are at Over Manga Cast.
You can also find us on YouTube where you can like, comment, subscribe. Our episodes go up there on a 2-week delay, so if you want to head over to over.com, you can catch up on up-to-date stuff. It even has a comment section where you can give us recommendations, tell us what you thought, tell us that Hiroaka is the greatest thing of all time.
Oh, Jacob, they wouldn't tell us that. I know. Because I read your recommendations like this came from. Thanks. We all hated it, so don't know if that was a great recommendation. Maybe you should look into yourself a bit more. I'm kidding. As always, we love hearing from y'all, even when you give us stuff we end up not liking, because I think that's part of the journey. As always, you can reach out to us over mangacast.com. Whatever social medias we still maintain in the year of our Lord 2025. They're not fun to be on. So you can also reach out to us over mangacast@gmail.com. Recommendations, reviews, go ahead, give us 5 stars. We love it. Speaking of things we'll absolutely love, Sam. Oh, wait. No, this is Jacob's kind of trust. Jacob, what are we reading next week?
The Red Ranger becomes an adventurer in another...
Chapters 1 through 14.
Yep. We're reading Isekai Red.
So excited. This is gonna be... I'm glad we could do Hero Aka Vigilantes and this in a row. This is great. I'm glad 2 weeks of my life simultaneously are consumed by... You know what? Fuck it. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Warrior of Burning Friendship, Isekai Red!